Okay, so while you're reading that crap, I thought I'd have a quick go while I edit this video. Cheers. Enjoy the video. Fuck this boy. The adventure that started all the adventures back in 2022, Monkey Run Peru. Myself and Rhett flew into Peru. A little bit of sightseeing, a lot more partying, and then off to Ayacucho. The first thing we had to do was find a bike for Rhett because the Monkey Run was sold out, so there's no spots available. And we were just gonna buy a bike, give it to a Peruvian princess at the end, and get out of there. We went to the pre-party the night before, had some drinks and met the organisers. They had a spare bike, so Rhett was sorted, didn't have to buy a bike in the end. Pre-race, went up to Bruno's ranch, a bit of fixing the bikes, a bit of horse riding and doing shots, a bit of monkey bike soccer, and then some local entertainment and drinks into the night. Day one, we've set off from Bruno's ranch. We've got about 165 kilometres to cover. We're heading for Europa. We were not prepared at all for how cold it's going to get. Day two, we're going to head off from Europa. We've got about 75 to 80 kilometres to cover, heading to a town that I cannot pronounce. No real plan apart from track towards Cusco as fast as possible. This was a wet and miserable day. Fuck this guy. So just a full day of adjusting the carby and fuel mixture and also draining the water out. Once we got to town, changed our fuel filters over, and then grabbed some nice chicken feet for dinner. Day 3, a huge day on the bike, 270 odd kilometres, but pretty easy riding. We end up finding accommodation in the middle of nowhere, but very nice place that we had to ourselves. Day 4, pushing about 70 kilometres into Cusco for well-earned mid-race break. 2 nights off for a little bit of sightseeing and partying. Woke up in our hotel, beautiful place that we had to ourselves. For some reason, took quite a bit of convincing to let them give us 2 rooms and not make us share 1 room. Couldn't really understand it. Seems like they didn't think we could afford it, I guess, based on rolling into the village very late at night on tiny little motorbikes. Rhett making good time knowing that Bishop Bar is waiting for us. My bike at this stage is constantly leaking oil out of the gearbox, so I've got no other choice but to have way too many drinks tonight, suck it up and go get it fixed in the morning. So I'm riding around almost aimlessly, just hoping to find a mechanic. In the end, I ride past a guy on the side of the road that looked like he had a little mechanic shop. I pulled in there, and it ended up being cheaper than a bottle of oil that I was buying every day to fix. With the bike repaired, a little bit of sightseeing. Rhett took the day off just to recover, and then back to the Shots Bar for what we called the midway party. Had a few people turn up, not a bad night at all, not that I can remember it. Day 6, about 100 kilometres to cover as we head back into the mountains out of Cusco and towards the Amazon and the finish line. As we get close to the finish line, we actually start bumping into people for the first time on monkey bikes, because you can imagine it's all funneling us into the same direction. These were the worst shots of the trip, because straight after 2 nights in Cusco, the last thing we needed was Jaeger to start the morning. Day 7, about 110 kilometres up through the Amazon. Really got onto the dirt roads here. I lost my phone in a water crossing. We ended up finding it, but I lost all footage and couldn't take any more footage from this point on through to the end. That night we stayed about a kilometre from the finish line. I got ridiculously sick, so I done nothing. Rep went out, made some local friends. Then the next day rolled into the finish line. Myself and Rep were presented with the Spirit of the Adventure Award, which were these cool masks, potentially to make us look better. Who knows, but cool little memento. Obviously, you had to get a photo in the A380 stand-up bar on the way back to Dubai with the mask on. Not a bad way to finish an epic adventure. The first of many.